What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet, and I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. Now listen, I don't watch the WNBA. I really don't even watch men's basketball anymore, okay? So I'm not really a sports guy like I used to be. I kind of left that stuff behind. If you watch it, that's fine. This is not so much about sports itself. This is about basically the coonery. So what I'm going to be talking about in this video is these Negro sportscasters and how they have tried their damnedest and are still doing their damnedest to overinflate and over elevate the female basketball player Caitlin Clark. Now, you know, I've seen so much reporting on her, and I've seen so many of these sportscasters and even little Negroes online just completely overrating Caitlin Clark. She's okay, but she's not. They make it sound like she's like the greatest basketball player of all time, the greatest female basketball player of all time. It's ridiculous. And I mean, it comes off as just stupid too when she's basically losing games and not really performing that well. And it's like what are you guys trying to do? Well, let me stop saying that. I know what they're trying to do, but it's they're embarrassing themselves when they do it. And if they had any type of dignity or could feel some sort of shame, they wouldn't be trying so hard to elevate this white woman. And it's not just the elevating, it's that they're going out of their way to demean the black female players in the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be one thing if they were just raising up Caitlin Clark and putting this white woman on a pedestal, but these Negroes go out of the way to demonize and make it seem like the black female players are just picking on her, or they're deliberately targeting her. Let me tell you something, okay? Even though I don't really watch sports that much anymore, but I've competed and I watched sports when I was younger. I know when the new person gets in there, they're always going to get tested by the established players, okay? And Caitlin Clark getting fouled or getting bumped and knocked over, I mean, I don't see what the big deal is about that. That's that's the game of basketball. You're going to get fouled, and that's nothing for all of us who have played street ball. That's nothing, okay? She was able to pick herself up off the ground. She didn't get the wind knocked out of her. We all have played street ball, okay? Anyone who grew up in a black neighborhood or around other black males, you know what I'm talking about. We used to play football on the street. We used to go to the courts at the school. We played inside and outside on the asphalt, and damn near anything goes. It was ridiculous. Sometimes when I think back on some of those days, like how hard we used to play, it's like, why are we playing so hard? This is not life or death. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still got scars from getting knocked over or fouled or whatever, like scrapes on my leg and stuff like that, where the skin got taken off. I still got scars from that. So we know what the game is of basketball. And even in the NBA, that stuff goes on. I know they've tried to create these rules and stuff nowadays to lessen the physical impact, which is funny to me. It's funny to me because both within the NBA and the WNBA, if you hit somebody or you knock somebody over or whatever, you foul them, they want to make a big deal about it. They want to give you a fine. And to me, the only reason they do that is because these are both majority black leagues. So it has majority black players in these leagues. They have to somehow strip these black people of their money somehow, right? They have to make a spectacle of them somehow. Now, of course, in hockey, you can beat each other up. You can take your gloves off and actually fight. You can knock each other into the walls and everything else, and it's not made a big deal of like it is in basketball, right? But that's a majority white sport. So white folks are allowed to do that. NASCAR, people are allowed to go, not only the people that participate, but the fans themselves are allowed to act like complete animals and assholes, and no one says anything about that. But black people, they're in this sport, NBA, WNBA, and while white people love to watch them, they still have an issue with, these black people getting any money at all for playing this game, right? They might be entertained by it, but they still don't like seeing black people, making a living off of it. And if they can see one of their own be dominant or one of their own be popular in that sport, they'll do that. They'll elevate them. So from that standpoint, I understand when white people do this, why white people love Caitlin Clark so much. I understand that. I'm not even mad at them for being that way. That's what you're supposed to do when you have a sense of self and a sense of loving your people, right? So I don't begrudge them that. But when the Negroes do it, it's obvious what they're doing. Like, these guys are just paid shills, and they're out there to get some butter biscuits for themselves by elevating this white woman, And it's this is why I said this is not so much of a sports video. It's more of a social thing that I'm talking about now. The fact that they're going out of their way to elevate Caitlin Clark is basically the same way these Negroes in the music industry elevate Eminem, right? The same way they put extras on his lyricism and make it seem like he's the greatest rapper of all time, even though he's not doing anything original or anything that no black rapper has ever done. That's the same thing they're doing with Caitlin Clark, acting like there's no female basketball player that's ever been better or done the same thing that she's doing, right? She can be mediocre, but still get the praise or overly praised by these people, by these sportscasters and by white folks in general, which is, like I said, that's the social norm. We know that they do that. And to be totally honest, if I'm going to compare Caitlin Clark to Eminem, I can at least give Caitlin Clark a little bit more credit because she's actually directly competing with somebody. She's not just, dribbling the basketball and people are saying she's the greatest. In my opinion, someone like Eminem, people are being a little bit more subjective about listening to his music and putting extras on it. At least Caitlin Clark has to actually compete with other people in the WNBA. So I can give her that at the very least. And also I can somewhat respect that she doesn't want to be part of any agenda. She said that. She's just there to play. And people keep kind of putting extra emphasis on her or keep basically objectifying her and trying to make her the spearhead for some white movement. And I mean, that's basically what's going on here. And I can understand that might be a lot of pressure for her and a lot of, just unwarranted attention. But also, she's not going to say no to the money and the advertisements and that attention because, like I said, it brings some finances to her and her family. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in that regard. So, but like I said, these Negroes, the Stephen A. Smiths and the Jason Shitlocks, the guy that looks like the poop emoji, these guys they're going to go out of their way to glaze this woman, Shannon Sharp too. Like, they even had this fake outrage that she wasn't chosen for the Olympic team, as if anyone gives a damn, as if anyone really cares that she's not part of the Olympic team. So what? Even she doesn't care about that. It's like these guys just making a big deal for no reason, really, just so they can get some more attention for themselves by kissing this white woman's flat ass, right? And overpraising her and demonizing the black girls. It's funny because when it comes to black female athletes, these Negroes go out of their way to demonize them. You see how they talked about Sha'Carri Richardson, remember? When she was disqualified from going to the Olympics and she was losing. These Negroes had all these dissertations about how bad of a person she was because they found some weed in her system, right? And she's been going through some things personally, and she wasn't performing well. These Negroes had all things to say, basically wagging their fingers at her. No words of support whatsoever, right? But when it came to Caitlin Clark, these Negroes got all the praise. They did the same thing to Simone Biles. Remember when she wasn't performing well at the Olympics, or she dropped out because she was having some issues with twirling in the air? These Negroes have something to say then too. It seems like they only want to uplift you if you're a white female, because they did the same thing to Ronda Rousey. You remember that when she competed in mixed martial arts? They were glazing her and making her seem like she was the greatest mixed martial artist ever, even saying she could beat the men. Then no sooner as Ronda Rousey started getting her ass whooped, when she stopped fighting those tomato cans and actually had to compete against some real competition, then those Negroes, they didn't even want to like congratulate the new champions. They wanted to go and sympathize with Ronda Rousey, saying, you know, it was only one loss or it's only two losses. You're still the champ. Like, Negroes are actually going out of the way and doing that for Ronda Rousey. And then her punk ass quit the UFC because she kept getting her ass whooped. And she couldn't take those ass whoopings because they built her up and marketed so much around her. And then she was shown to be a loser herself. So she just quit, went to the WWE, did the same thing over there. Just got money and, you know, made a terrible product and just got out, basically. So, like I said, these Negroes, they'll do their best to uplift any white female. And they'll do their best to get in public and go out of their way to shame or demoralize or talk bad about black females. And this is spread to these content creators as well. Like, if you look at a lot of these content creators, these black content creators who lean more towards conservatism or more towards this manosphere bullshit, they're all out there shitting on the black girls in the WNBA too and praising Caitlin Clark. It's ridiculous. And like I said, once again, a lot of these Negroes should be ashamed, but once again, you'd actually have to have shame and have dignity. And if they actually had dignity, they wouldn't be in this position in the first place. Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock would not be on TV with as big of a audience as they have now if they actually had some dignity and some integrity and actually spoke the truth. The fact that there are open mouthpieces for white supremacy and good boys to push propaganda is the reason they're in the position they are in the first place. So, I mean, you folks can let me know how you feel about this in the comments section. I'd very much like to hear your opinions. And if you're one of these Caitlin Clark glazers who's going to come here and try to convince me that she's the greatest female basketball player that's ever walked on the court, go ahead. But, I mean, I don't care about it, so you can call her the greatest if you want to. If you want to have Caitlin Clark posters on your wall and Caitlin Clark jerseys, you want to wear that around your children and stuff like that, look like a complete simp for this white woman, go do that. Go do that and be happy with all of that. All right? I don't care, but I'm just bringing this up to talk about the social aspect and the nonsense put out there by a lot of these clown-ass coons. Anyway, you folks let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I very much like to hear your opinions on this subject. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on a devil's back.